So I have a good plan for my YouTube channel this month and hopefully everything goes as planned. So stay tuned for more content. As you all know, October just started, the month of Halloween, and I decided to make Spooktober themed videos throughout October. I have some interesting topics in mind that you will hopefully see soon. Anyway, enjoy the video. When I was 15 years old, my family moved to a new state and into a new house. I ended up with the largest of the 3 upstairs bedrooms, one that had a bathroom attached and, interestingly enough, a door in the closet. Inside of my normal closet was a door, maybe 2 feet by 3 feet in size. I have always loved the paranormal, and this door instantly reminded me of the one in the movie Caroline, so I was very interested. When opened, you could tell that there was insulation blocking the door, but had either been pushed out of the way or pulled. The door led to a small attic-like room. It was unfinished, bare wood, and was warmer than the rest of the house. I shut the door after not finding anything interesting about it, and didn't give it any thought for the next few weeks. That is until one day I woke up and the small door was open. My initial thought was that maybe I had opened it and forgotten. I walked over, shut it, and went on with my day. The next morning, I awoke to find the door, once again, open. Now this time I knew for a fact it had been shut when I fell asleep. Trying not to read too much into it, I thought maybe it was one of my 2 siblings trying to mess with me. That wasn't really like them to wake up in the middle of the night to prank me, but I couldn't think of any other logical answer. I asked them both numerous times and they were so uninterested that they simply said they had no idea what I was talking about. I even ended up scaring my little sister just from talking about it. That night I decided to lock the door instead of just shutting it. When I went to do just that, I saw that the side of the knob that locks was not on the side of my closet, but on the inside of the attic room. I found this very strange, as the room couldn't really be used for anything besides storage. If that was the case, it would make more sense to have the lock on the outside where it would be easily reached. Nevertheless, I locked the inside of the door and shut it. I gave it a hearty pull and a wiggle to make sure it was actually locked, and it stayed put. Confident that it was truly shut this time, I went to bed. In the morning the door was open. Seeing that small door in my closet wide open after locking it myself the night before was absolutely terrifying. It was at this point that I decided to tell my parents what had happened. Both of them laughed, joking that I had a ghost and didn't believe a word I said. I was on my own. What happened next is something that I will never forget as long as I live. I will preface this by saying I have never had sleep paralysis and have never had it since this story took place. I went to my bedroom to take a nap. It was mid-afternoon, so the sun was still out and coming through my blinds. I don't remember falling asleep, but I do remember opening my eyes and the room being considerably darker. I remember laying there, on my side, face to face with a dark, humanoid figure sitting next to my head on my bed. It was just black, like a 3D silhouette. It was sitting cross-legged, mere inches from my face, and I couldn't even scream. I was frozen. It felt like hours, but was probably only a few seconds before the room was lit with the warm afternoon sun and the figure was gone. I was still laying in the exact same position and the door was open. This was the last straw for me. I was completely terrified of that door and whatever came with it. I grabbed one of my scarves and tied the doorknob to the shelf on my closet so that it cannot be opened at all. Thankfully, this worked. I moved out of that house 3 years later, but my little sister moved into that room after I moved out. My parents and sister moved out of that house a month ago, and up until the day they left, that scarf never left that door. I have never had sleep paralysis before. I don't know if that's what I experienced, but it never happened when the door was shut. Very interesting experience, a fascinating story, a unique one to say the least. And just a quick comment, I have noticed that these paranormal stories often involve sleep paralysis. I would love to explore this topic more in the future, so tell me in the comments below if you would be interested in that. So I walk my dog every day at late hours so she can sleep the night through. She's a bit old by now. The route is almost the same every time and we usually walk at the same hours, 9 PM or 10 PM usually. We, my fiance and me, live in the more quiet part of our town, meaning by that time of the day it is even more quiet and no one is on the streets in this part. Additionally, it's more of a side street with little to none street lights and or houses. There's a certain part of the bushes and a part of grass where my dog likes to do her, She's a lot outgoing and always cheerful, likes to jump around and run, etc. But this one day, at that park of our route, she was kinda acting up, like she was cautious or something. I kind of felt her uneasiness, and felt somewhat anxious myself by now. So we go our way where her favorite potty place is, previously mentioned grass/bushes thingy place, and we proceed our routine. As I stood there, I heard sounds besides or behind me, like branches being moved or leaves being stepped on, and my dog reacted to it, a mix of growling and whimpering. I was really nervous at that point. I just wanted to go home. As I proceeded to take my way, no longer than several seconds later, a man came out of the bushes where I stood before with my dog. He stared directly in my way, just standing there. I froze of surprise and fear. I couldn't move. My dog barked and all of a sudden, he sprinted towards me. At this point, I just ran away without thinking. I arrived then on a part of our way with houses and, thank God, light. I looked behind me and he wasn't there anymore. The point is, I always felt safe when walking there, but lately I got the feeling of being watched or even followed. I can't describe it. I got the feeling and my dog sensed something too a few weeks before. I didn't tell my fiance that this happened, because I don't want her to be worried. Something similar didn't happen again, but I still get freaked out walking that way. So shady looking man waiting for me in the bushes at night? Let's not meet again. Very interesting experience. My only explanation for the way the man that came out of bushes was acting is maybe because he was feeling threatened. I believe that you can meet a lot of weird people when you are just walking your dog in these late hours. And there are people out there with bad intentions, so you have to be cautious and trust your gut feeling. So, I first encountered the Hatman when I was around 12 years old. I was home alone and on the computer when I heard a man's voice say my name. I turned to look and saw a tall man staring at me, in broad daylight. He wore all black, a long trench coat, a top hat, and I believe black or red eyes. I can't quite remember that part. I saw him for a solid few seconds before looking away. And when I turned back, he was gone. Also keep in mind I saw quite a few things in the house I grew up in, but the Hatman was by far my most vivid and clear experience to date. Fast forward to today, almost a decade later, and I'm visiting my parents in the same home I first encountered him at. Well, my mom just told me that my younger brother has been talking about a man who wears all black, a top hat, and goes by the name John. My brother is 14 and has Down syndrome. There is quite literally no way he could know any of this, and the fact that he even mentioned the man is surprising, considering that he doesn't communicate well. So essentially, what is going on? I did some research and only found out today that Hatman is a widespread phenomenon, but that doesn't explain the John part. I should also mention there was a supposed story from our neighbor that there was a murder in my parents' house back in the 60s, I believe, but I couldn't find any record of it online. Maybe a John Doe or simply a demon? Talking about the Hatman phenomenon, while I was looking for stories to narrate for this video, this topic got me curious. So if you want to see a video of more Hatman-like stories or me looking into this more critically, let me know in the comments or simply like the video, so I can see what type of content should I make more of. So hope you enjoyed this video. and I will see you all later. Peace out.